Good Saturday morning. Good Saturday wet morning. More like that. I'm not even sure if the camera's going to do it much justice, but I'm up in Mt Coot-tha at the moment. About to go down a very steep descent. Giving a section of the Guzzler half full 50 kilometre ultra a bit of a dry or wet run today. It's been an interesting start. I thought that the rain was going to clear based on what the forecast had said, and therefore conditions would have been a little bit different to this, but I figured, well, if it's raining on race day, may as well run in all conditions. But yeah, it's actually been quite nice to run in these types of rainy, forested situation, because and just before I switched the camera on, we were up in the clouds, which was terrible for visibility, but it's just something that you don't really get to experience in Brisbane, because we typically don't have points high enough to get up there. So that was a neat little treat, but it certainly meant that I made a few wrong turns because I almost couldn't see the ground. So it was that trade-off between utilising your headlamp but also keeping it dim enough to reduce the refraction of light through the raindrops as they came down, or through the mist. Really, it was just blanketing everything. So this is I'm just doing it out and back. I'm going to try for 2 hours. Right now my pace is somewhere around 8 minutes per kilometre. I put a portion of that down to, I just didn't know. There were so many turns up front and I didn't have a great sense of elevation profile. Plus I was trying to refer to my map on my watch, and it's only so good, especially when I can't wear glasses, because they would have just messed it up immediately. So these sections are really steep, so I can't even really slow my body. Yeah, but hopefully I'll be able to go for 2 hours. I'm guessing I'll probably get 7 or 8 Ks out, and then try to maintain that pace on the way back and get back to the car and get home on time. I gotta make sure the car's home so my wife can get to yoga. So I'm always trying to trade this stuff off. It's a lot of crossovers. It would be nice to have the markings up, but we are many months away. Alright. Fairly decent amount of light starting to penetrate the canopy, so it's it's a little bit safer. I can actually see what the heck I'm doing. Alright, switch off for now. Switch on later. I signed up for the Guzzler half full, which is 52k ultra. It starts in Mt Coot-tha and then meanders toward the inaugural reservoir, circumnavigates it a little bit past the northern end away from the dam, then continues up to Gold Creek, and you do a loop back and loop around and then start to make your way back. And I was finding I was just in a bit of a rut with my training. Usually I have fairly good self-motivation, and I don't necessarily need to have anything in particular to train for, but I guess the other, outside of running, the work-life balance at the moment has been taking a lot of my time, and the remainder of my time, but it's all been completely full, and work started at warp speed this year, so I just needed something on the horizon to sort of plan and train for. So I've done a bit of trail running, but I've never really converted it into anything kind of formal. Just always been, intentional but opportunistic, really, because it's I just have a few good conservation parks just out the back of my house, so I can always access it. It's easy to come by. But yeah, this is the first time I've actually thought, yep, I'm going to do that. So yeah, the race is, I think, the 18th of July, and I have a copy of the race organisers provided training plan, both the beginner and the experienced. I'd say from a pure running standpoint, I'm experienced, but trying to just spend the time on feet required for an event like this is certainly something different. So just trying to get like experience, which has led me to today's session. So it started at the start line of the 50k. I'm parked in the parking lot. Yeah, so one thing that's quickly becoming apparent is the sheer amount of elevation gain that there's going to be and descent. Wow. I don't really, when running on the road, I try everything I can to not stop running. But and if I stop at traffic lights or have a break, I hit pause on my run because I don't want it to impact my average pace. But those are some things I'm going to have to come to terms with running trails. But and this is just turning into a stunning day, and hopefully the sun doesn't really make an appearance while I'm running, because it is just gonna turn everything into a sweat bath. So if you're gonna rain, just keep raining, please. I've been in this section of the park, I think, with my kids, but never really did anything more than the flatter sections, and that's completely understandable. Take a nice family hike and turn it into something completely different, and kids aren't up for that yet. Maybe we'll check in 2 or 3 years. Gotta wait for my youngest one. My son's probably on the cusp, but he's never interested in hiking when you suggest it, but then when you get him out, he's all for it. I find a lot of their experiences are like that. Can't conceptualize it until you're in the moment. Probably a nice way to live, really. Alright. Logging off for a bit. Just crossed the road from, I believe it's a very popular mountain bike park for kids and adults alike, but this is an uncharted trail for myself, so it's always quite exciting to experience new things. But I find the roads running side of things, because there's not a great deal of randomness in the types of surfaces that you're running, and they can't really be inconsistent in their gradients, because you've got to get cars up them and down them, so there's always a threshold for which you're not really going to surpass. But that is certainly different of trails. But with the road running, I could be very data centric, and because I had the time to look at that stuff, but I'm gonna have to learn pretty quickly here that it's unlikely to be the case for trail running, and I'm gonna have to make a call based on my gut as to whether or not I go for it. I ease off. I mean, my strategy at this moment, just to keep myself from burning too hot, is run sections that appear flat enough, slow run downhill if it's not too steep, or if you can control your pace, and then uphill just get comfortable with walking at a brisk pace while you can manage that. So looks like we're in that predicament right now. I will be easing off the pace because I gotta make a call on when to turn back and make it to the car. So my gut tells me in a couple of minutes. Because it certainly seemed as though there was a lot more down than up coming out this far. So I'm at 53, might turn at 55, give myself an hour and 5 to do 2 hours. Though I do expect that the initial kilometres, or the closing kilometres on the back, will be a little bit faster than what they were on the way out. So that'll put me at about 13 or between 13 and 14 kilometres for the morning, which is, I'm pretty happy with that. Get to see new things, get up early, get after it. Ride the exercise high. Feel infinitely better about the upcoming moments that are going to present themselves to you throughout the day. Alright, this little hill, or hillow, as my 5-year-old likes to call it, represented our outpost. We are heading back to the car. Stunning. Trying to hold this thing level or horizontal at the horizon so that you can get a sense of what's in front. I can see, I don't think it's a false crest, but I recall I tried to walk down this thing and eventually had to get into a trot because I couldn't slow my body in the final section. So now I'm walking back up the thing, and boy, I think this situation, the actual course arises several times, so including a couple or a few times within the last 10k of the race. So it is not going to be welcomed. Boy. There we go. Kamala Trail. Headed towards the reservoir or water tank in Chapel Hill, which means this downhill will certainly be met with an uphill of equal or greater challenge. I feel like I didn't watch it much, but I think I used to catch the end of Malcolm in the Middle when I was a kid growing up, because it always ran late into the show that either myself or my parents wanted to watch on TV, and but I feel with the way that my words are coming out at the moment, I feel like Malcolm in the Middle's friend who had to take a pretty big inhalation between words. Ironically, and for comedic purposes, the breath was often bigger for simpler words. Maybe that's happening here. Yeah, this one is steep too. It's not, certainly not the worst conditions I could have run this in. It could have been an absolute mud bath, and if that were the case, then my shoes would have been by far not suitable for this. But I'm wearing my well-used Hoka Bondi 8s, so they're really a road shoe, but they've got some fairly decent nodules in them, and I just wanted them for the padding to sort of absorb any acute sort of rocks or divots. So they're working well today, but I think if we'd had maybe 30 minutes more of consistent rain, would have seen a lot of surface runoff, and then a lot of mud puddles. And I'm not particularly aligned with Peppa Pig on that front. I don't really want to go splashing in them. My daughter does, which I love. One of the many things I love about it. Oh, these are long videos. Just finding the terrain so interesting, and I've got, although boring, I've got plenty to say. So, for anyone who does watch this, I apologize for my ongoing stream of consciousness. There she is. Reservoir for Chapel Hill. She's a big one. It's a densely populated area by Brisbane standards. Back on to a very steep climb. Got about 700 meters to go and 111 meters to climb. So let's say 1 meter up every 8 or 9. Just coming off of what, with the exception of climbing a rock face, that very well may have been the steepest thing I've ever ascended over that distance. The only thing I can compare it to is the grouse grind, but in Vancouver, but you've got 3 kilometers to ascend 900 vertical meters, so it's just relentless. You're going for about an hour, but if that's the only thing you've got planned for your day, it's not the worst. But that was a challenge, and the fact that the path is quite consistent means that you really feel each and every step. There's no relaxing of the ascent. But on the plus side, I get to come out to this, which is a nice treat. So pretty out. So I had no clue what I was in here this morning. So it's nice to be able to see this now. Starting to heat up there. And we're starting to see some more people, so that's cool.